Welcome back to the channel. This is what you call my studio. Now, before we even get into it at all, this video is unscripted, so I really will mess up a couple times and, stutter and whatever, but I want to be genuine and really face-to-face with you guys. That's what I feel YouTube should be. So I'm a filmmaker out of New York, and you're watching this video because you're some type of creative or photographer, creative studio, whatever you have it. I'm going to break down how I made this space behind me and how I got like 12 or 13 looks out of this one ample garage space. And as you can see here, it is pretty cold in here, and it's not weather treated because I'm wearing a hat always, and I'm usually, bundled up because it is winter and I live in upstate New York. So without further ado, this is setup number one. This is what I like to call the talking head A-roll setup, where I have the sign behind me, and which is my my logo, and the LED, we'll reverse that, the LED sign tube behind me, and that is from a company called Luxio. It's an Amazon brand, really cheap, and all this furniture that I will get into is from Amazon as well. And this mic is a Rode, Podcaster 1, I believe. So yeah, this is space number one. Let's get into space number two now. I'm going to keep talking to you guys about it because I don't want to unplug the microphone. So in space number two, just play that B-roll. In space number two, we're going to have a white standing desk with that sign also right behind me, and the switcher setup for my podcast setup. I have the Atom Mini Pro there on the desk with a felt gray tabletop stand that I have there, as well as an over the top rig, I want to call it. What is it called? Overhead rig made by a small rig that attaches to the bottom of the table, as well as several stands over here, and an actual futon or a foldable futon that I have as my seat when I'm back there if I actually sit down. I actually don't sit down in that spot too often because it is a standing desk. So what am I going to do there? Stand. My next setup is going to be the top-down YouTube tutorial setup, which I have my phone usually hooked up to, and I really want to get into breaking down tech that I've used on Instagram, where I place my phone over the top of whatever tech I'm talking about and really go through it with notes, as you guys can see in this video right here. That is setup number three. So far, I've done two top-down setups, this setup right here, and another talking head setup, just in this one little bit of space. And now, if you can see right here on the back wall, I have like a thumbnail wall, really a two-colored sheet wall that I actually have now. I'm missing the third color. It's supposed to be beige, but right now I have white and gray, which are pretty, neutral colors. And if you want to have, products filmed, or you want to just have a talking head, either just be the white space behind there or the gray space behind there, or even encompass the entire, display right there. Having that with what you're filming gives a more organic look anyway. So I like to, zoom out a little bit and bring that into perspective as well. So that is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you're asking any of these questions like, oh, like how is that set lit? Let's get into it right now. I have it broken down into two light stands that I have on a C-stand or on the stands that they come with, and actually just attaching wheels to the bottom of it. I feel like adding wheels to things, in 2024 in limited amounts of space makes it so much more efficient to move. Now, these wheels are lockable. I'm not going to go sliding around, $500 lights on them, but pretty awesome to be able to just take it from one section of my office or studio and moving it to another and not having to change the color temperature or anything like that. And here's some advice that I'm going to give you right now, straight up. Get color temperature lights that are all similar temperatures. That way you can match it up with the white balance of your camera, and that they don't flicker when you're on camera, so that no matter where you move them in your studio, whether they're hanging above you like I have up there or right in front of you like I have right here in the talking head setup, you will be able to have a uniform, very efficient setup wherever you bring it. Also, to this side of me, I actually have large diffusion cloth, I want to call it, but I actually had it for a recent movie that I worked on this summer to really stop the sunlight from coming in super high, because I like to film during different times of the day. I'm expanding my family, and I have two careers that I'm working on, and I'm very busy. So being able to film during the daylight when the sunlight isn't shining in and changing throughout the film or throughout whatever I'm filming is super important. So I have two 10-foot sheets right here attached to some stands here. Now, you don't need to have this set up like I have it. You could just tape sheets to your windows. I have gray and white like I do back there as well. And you can also film on those as well, as long as they're really pulled tight to the point where you can't see the wrinkles behind you, because that's kind of distracting and weird to the viewer to see a sheet behind them. So here is the one chair that I have set up for the A-roll setup. And now here is another couch that I will be using with some fake plants and another C-stand and another tabletop arm, because having that, look at my hands. Being able to move my hands around like this right now is absolutely a game changer, people. Now that makes me so much more efficient with my hands. Like, I like to talk to my hands. I like to hold whatever gear I'm talking about. Like, say I'm even talking about this right here, like cable, HDMI cable. Like, this is actually for the streaming but setup. But having this in my hand, having this free me, although aesthetically it does take away from the shot a little bit, you guys get the point. And if you're watching this video and you're thinking, oh, how can I do this by myself, or how can I get a start on that? I started with just getting 1 or 2 lights, putting them on a C-stand or with wheels, and being able to navigate that around my property, and having some way to cover the windows, because I like to film at different points in the day. Like I said before, I'm very busy, and if you're very busy, then I think this will lead great help for you, essentially. But if you are someone who likes to just use a daylight and just throw up the camera and not really have too much concerns with lighting and consistency, then just use a daylight. You know, film with your camera right in front of you with the daylight on this angle, 45 degrees. You're pretty much set up. But let's get into more of this setup. And obviously, all this stuff comes with weeks and days and months and years almost of just learning, trial and error, making mistakes, pulling back, tearing everything down, starting back over. And you're going to just work with what works for you. Now, if you like the backdrop that I have here, this is black wood tiles made by the company known as Wood Up, as well as the setup that I have over there for my 8th and 9th. I lost count now, a number of setups that I have over there, but this is Wood Up tile, very cheap, very affordable, and very efficient to put up and take down. Like, I put this up in less than like a day, and I was able to actually have it uniformly laid out. As you can see, that wall has it laid out perfectly laterally and perfectly vertically behind me. So if you're looking to do something like that, have a little bit of wood paneling, I recommend getting either black, white, or actually wood colored. Do whatever you want though, because it's based on your aesthetic. So without further ado, that is pretty much it. I will do much more with this setup. And if you're looking to get, you know, much more videos out of me, and you like my videos and like my growth as a filmmaker, subscribe to your boy. Good luck in what you do. It's your boy, Kip Jackson. I said boy twice there. Peace. There's a lot of spaces in here that we can work with. So if you guys want to be in any videos or work with me, let me know in the comments, bro. That's what YouTube is about. Community. Subscribe.